In a galaxy full of alien civilizations, humans had once shown incredible potential. Earth, a small planet on the edge of known space, had made remarkable strides in technology. It was a new world that other galactic races noticed. Humanity's rapid advancements were seen as a force that could change the balance of power across the galaxy. And for a time, humanity was hopeful. They sent probes, made contact with other alien species, and even joined small councils in the outer reaches. But it was only a matter of time before the Council, a powerful group of the galaxy's most influential alien races, grew wary of humanity. The Council, an organization composed of the oldest and most powerful races, watched humanity with growing concern. Their growth was too fast, too unpredictable. They were not like the other races in the galaxy. The humans did not have the long histories of alliances or deep-rooted traditions of peace. They were too young, too bold, and most importantly, too dangerous. They adapted quickly, fought fiercely, and survived under the most extreme conditions. This made the Council fearful. The decision to ban humanity was swift and brutal. They saw it as the only way to prevent the new, unpredictable species from upsetting the delicate balance they had so carefully maintained. Earth was sealed off from the rest of the galaxy with a powerful communication blockade, no contact, no travel, no ships. The galaxy pretended humanity no longer existed, and Earth was abandoned. The humans were isolated, left to live and die in silence on their tiny planet. To the galaxy, they were no longer a threat, no longer a force to worry about. But the Council made one critical mistake. They underestimated humanity. While the galaxy's powerhouses celebrated their success, Earth was far from broken. In the quiet corners of the planet, where the rest of the world had turned its back, a spark remained. Humanity had not lost its spirit. Elena Carter, a brilliant scientist who had always felt Earth's true potential was just beginning to unfold, couldn't accept the Council's decision. The Council had cut them off from everything, no trade, no alliances, nothing. But they had not taken humanity's will to survive. Elena, once a respected scientist who had worked on cutting-edge research, knew something had to be done. The ban might have taken their voice from the galaxy, but it could not silence their ingenuity. She secretly gathered a small group of like-minded scientists, engineers, and thinkers. Together, they began working in hidden labs beneath the surface of Earth, far from the prying eyes of the Council. They didn't have the resources or support of the galaxy, but they had something more: human resourcefulness. They started small, working with what little they had. They began to design technology that was thought to be far beyond their reach, using the scraps left behind from previous human expeditions. What they built was far from perfect, but it was a start that would ultimately change the galaxy forever. The weapon they began to construct was not just any weapon. It was unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. A ship capable of incredible destruction, a craft built with human determination, designed to break the very systems that had oppressed them. This ship, armed with cutting-edge technology, could tear through the heart of any alien fleet. Elena's team called it the Reclaimer, a symbol of their determination to reclaim their place in the galaxy. They knew that one day, the galaxy would be forced to remember humanity not as a forgotten race, but as one that could not be ignored. The work was slow, and there were moments of doubt. Was this worth the risk? Could they really pull off something that could get the Council's attention? But Elena always kept her eyes on the goal. The galaxy may have tried to bury humanity, but she refused to let it happen. She believed the galaxy would regret underestimating them. And she was right. As the days passed, the ship took shape. Slowly, the scientists worked their magic, modifying the ship's engines, integrating powerful weapon systems, and creating defensive shields. The Reclaimer was far more than a ship, it was a statement. Humanity was not a species to be ignored. They were a force that had survived against nature, against war, and against isolation. And now they would rise. Elena knew that they would have to move quickly. The Council's eyes were focused on other threats in the galaxy, but it wouldn't take long before they realized what humanity was up to. Once they did, the Council's fury would come crashing down. They might come to destroy Earth once and for all. But humanity had one advantage. They had something the Council didn't: determination, unpredictability, and the drive to survive at any cost. And so, on a dark night under the cover of secrecy, Elena and her team powered up the Reclaimer for its first test flight. The ship's engines hummed with life. The weapon, forged from years of resistance, was ready to strike. The galaxy would soon know that the ban on humanity had been a grave mistake. The Council had thought they had sealed Earth's fate. They were wrong. The galaxy was about to be reminded that humanity had only just begun. Years had passed since humanity was banished to Earth, abandoned by the rest of the galaxy. The Council, the powerful group of alien races that ruled the galaxy, had believed that by isolating Earth, they could erase humanity's influence once and for all. But they were wrong. For years, humanity stayed quiet, hidden from the eyes of the galaxy, but not without purpose. Elena Carter and her team of scientists and engineers had been working tirelessly beneath the surface of Earth, perfecting the ship they had secretly built, the Reclaimer. This was no ordinary ship. It was a warship so advanced that it could destroy entire fleets. Armed with powerful weapons, defensive shields, and a drive system that had never been seen before, the Reclaimer was humanity's response to the galaxy's underestimation of them. Elena had always known that humanity would have to fight for survival, but now they would also fight for respect. They wouldn't remain isolated forever. The galaxy needed to remember who humanity was. The plan was simple. After years of watching the Council's movements and monitoring their communication networks, Elena and her team pinpointed their first target, a remote Council outpost located on a distant moon. It was the perfect target, a station dedicated to monitoring Earth and ensuring that humanity remained out of the picture. The Council had forgotten about Earth, but this station had been tracking the planet's energy signatures for years, just in case humanity made any move to break the ban. One quiet night, under the cover of darkness, Elena ordered the Reclaimer into the stars. With an energy surge, the ship tore through Earth's atmosphere, soaring into the unknown space. The ship's crew, composed of Elena's most trusted allies, worked together with precision. It wasn't just a fight, they were making a statement. Humanity was not done. As they neared the Council outpost, the crew prepared for what was to come. Elena had always known this moment would come, but nothing could have prepared her for the weight of it. She wasn't just attacking an outpost, she was attacking the very system that had sealed humanity's fate. With one swift strike, the Reclaimer unleashed its firepower. The station was destroyed in an instant. Explosions lit up the dark void of space as the outpost crumbled. Elena watched in silence as the mission was completed. They had made their mark, but something bigger had just begun. The shockwave of the attack spread across the galaxy like wildfire. The Council scrambled to make sense of what had just happened. The quiet, forgotten humans on Earth were suddenly back with a vengeance. How had they built such a weapon? How had they launched a surprise strike on a Council outpost without anyone noticing? The Council's leaders began their meetings in haste, trying to find an explanation. But their reaction was too slow. They had no idea what was coming next. The Council dealt with the fallout from the attack. Far beyond their reach, a new, dangerous force was stirring. The Vazoth, a brutal and war-hungry alien species, had been watching the galaxy for years. They cared nothing for the Council's ban on humanity. To them, Earth was nothing more than another prize to conquer. The Vazoth had no interest in the political games of the Council. They wanted power, and they believed Earth was the key to achieving it. The Vazoth had been preparing for a large-scale invasion of the galaxy, and they knew that if they could conquer Earth, they could use it as a launching point for their conquest of the rest of the galaxy. The Reclaimer's attack had caught their attention. They knew that humanity wasn't just a weak species to be ignored anymore. Elena realized too late that the war she had started wasn't just a fight for revenge, it was a fight for survival. The Vazoth were coming, and they were more dangerous than anything humanity had faced before. If humanity didn't act fast, they would be wiped out before they had a chance to prepare. The galaxy was about to face a war unlike anything it had ever seen. The Vazoth were unstoppable, and their thirst for conquest was endless. The galaxy was already divided, and now the Council would have to decide whether to fight alongside humanity or let Earth fall into the hands of the Vazoth. But Elena knew one thing. If humanity was going to survive, they would have to fight for every inch of space they could claim. They had made their first strike, but that was just the beginning. The Reclaimer had awakened a new chapter for humanity, and there would be no turning back. Elena looked to her crew, her allies, and the people of Earth. The fight wasn't over. It had only just begun. And this time, humanity wasn't going to be pushed aside. The galaxy would see just what humans could do when they had nothing left to lose. The shockwave from humanity's attack on the Council's outposts spread across the galaxy, and the galaxy's powers were in turmoil. The Vazoth, a ruthless and unstoppable species, had begun their invasion. The Council, caught off guard by humanity's sudden return and the threat of the Vazoth, realized just how badly they had underestimated the human race. The future of the galaxy hung in the balance, and the Council was desperate. For years, the Council had believed humanity was nothing more than a forgotten species on a small, isolated planet. They had thought the Reclaimer and its crew would remain hidden, but they were wrong. Elena Carter, the scientist behind the Reclaimer, had proven humanity's strength in a single strike, and now the Council had no choice but to reach out to Earth for help. The message from the Council arrived in the form of an envoy, a group of high-ranking ambassadors from several powerful alien factions. They arrived at Earth's atmosphere in a fleet of sleek, silver ships, their appearance a sign of both their desperation and authority. For Elena, it was a moment she had never imagined would come. After years of being treated like a pariah, a species no one cared about, Earth was now the key to the galaxy's survival. The Council, who had once banished humanity and erased them from galactic records, was begging for help. Their voice, once a distant memory, now trembled with urgency. Elena and her team were called to a secret meeting in a hidden underground facility. When the alien representatives arrived, their presence felt heavy, almost threatening. They spoke quickly, urgently, explaining the dire situation. The Vazoth were on the move, and they were coming for the Council's most powerful worlds. The galaxy was in chaos, and only humanity had the weapons and fighting spirit to stop the invasion. Without Earth's advanced technology and the Reclaimer, the Vazoth would overrun everything. Elena stood in stunned silence, listening to the Council's plea. After everything after the banishment, the isolation, and the years of believing humanity had no place in the galaxy, now the same Council was asking for help. The message was clear: help us, or the galaxy falls. It should have been easy to say yes. Humanity had the power to turn the tide of this war. With their advanced weaponry, they could be the galaxy's saviors. But Elena couldn't shake the feeling of betrayal. The same Council that had turned their backs on Earth was now knocking on their door, pleading for assistance. Elena's mind raced. Could they trust these alien factions? Could they trust the very Council that had declared humanity a threat? It wasn't just about helping them win the war. There were power struggles within the Council. Elena knew some factions still harbored resentment toward humanity's growing influence. Some alien species might try to use the situation to control Earth's resources or technology for themselves. What's in it for us? Elena finally asked, her voice steady but filled with doubt. The lead ambassador, a tall being with shimmering skin, lowered their head in acknowledgement. We don't have time for conditions. This isn't a negotiation. The Vazoth are coming for all of us. We need your weapons, your strength. The galaxy needs your leadership. But you abandoned us, Elena said, her voice rising with the anger she had held inside for so long. You banished us to Earth like we were nothing. Now you come to us when things are falling apart. The ambassadors looked uncomfortable, but they didn't argue. They couldn't. Elena was right. The Council had made a grave mistake, and now the consequences were too big to ignore. Elena took a deep breath. The decision was not easy. She had always fought for humanity's freedom, for Earth's survival. But now, the stakes were higher than ever. This wasn't just about Earth anymore. It was about the fate of the galaxy itself. I'll help you, she said finally, her voice calm but firm. But make no mistake, we're not your pawns. We'll fight with you, but we'll do it on our terms. And when the Vazoth are defeated, Earth will be free to decide its own future. The ambassadors agreed, though they looked uncomfortable with her terms. Elena wasn't sure they truly understood what it meant to fight alongside humanity. Earth had never been a part of the Council, but they would soon learn that humanity would no longer be controlled. The next few days were a blur. The Reclaimer and its crew prepared for war, training with other alien species who had agreed to join the fight. It was clear that not all alien factions were willing to trust humanity, but the need for unity against the Vazoth was too great. Elena had gathered her team, and now they were ready to face the enemy. But in the back of her mind, doubts still lingered. The Vazoth were ruthless, and their numbers were vast. Even with humanity's advanced weaponry, would it be enough? Could they really defeat the Vazoth and change the future of the galaxy? The clock was ticking. The Vazoth were closing in on Earth, and the Council, once the enemy, was now a fragile ally. Elena knew that no matter the outcome, things would never be the same. Humanity had come out of the shadows, and they would fight for their place in the galaxy, not just for survival, but for the future of Earth and every race in the galaxy. The question remained, could they win the war, or would the Vazoth destroy everything before they had a chance to make their mark? The war against the Vazoth was no longer a distant threat, it had become humanity's reality. After joining forces with the galaxy's other factions, Earth was no longer a small, isolated planet. Elena Carter and her team, now central figures in the fight, were leading humanity's charge against the Vazoth. They were no longer just survivors. They were warriors fighting for the galaxy's future. The battle raged across countless star systems. The Vazoth were relentless, their forces vast and overwhelming. Humanity's Reclaimer, a powerful warship, tore through the Vazoth fleet, but it was clear that the enemy's power far exceeded anything the galaxy had faced before. Their weaponry was devastating, and their numbers seemed endless. Every day, the war dragged on, and the cost of victory became steeper. As the war continued, Elena found herself struggling. The sheer scale of the battle wore on her. The alliances formed between Earth and the other alien factions were fragile, held together only by their shared need to survive. But cracks were beginning to show. Trust was in short supply. Even as humanity fought side by side with other species, Elena felt a creeping sense of unease. One day, while reviewing battle data and analyzing intelligence from the front lines, Elena uncovered something shocking. A group of council leaders had secretly made deals with the Vazoth, hoping to use them as a weapon to gain power and control over the galaxy. These leaders had known about the Vazoth threat long before it reached Earth. They had secretly aligned themselves with the Vazoth, hoping to use the monster they unleashed to wipe out their rivals. Their plan had backfired now. The Vazoth were out of control, destroying everything in their path, and the Council could no longer rein them in. The betrayal hit Elena like a punch to the gut. The same Council that had once abandoned humanity now stood exposed, their greed and thirst for power the true cause of the galaxy's destruction. The Vazoth, a race that should have been an enemy to all, had been aided and empowered by the very same people they were fighting against. The Council had sown the seeds of their own destruction. The question now burned in Elena's mind. What should she do with this knowledge? The Vazoth had to be stopped, but the Council was just as guilty. Could she expose the truth? Could humanity risk turning on the very people they had just begun to trust, even if that meant losing their allies and possibly the entire war? Elena's team rallied around her, but they too were divided. Some argued that exposing the Council's betrayal would destroy the fragile alliance and make humanity a target of the entire galaxy. Others believed that the truth must come out, that justice should prevail, no matter the cost. Elena knew she couldn't make the decision alone. This wasn't just about humanity anymore. It was about the future of the entire galaxy. As the final battle loomed, Elena faced an impossible choice. Continue to fight the Vazoth with the help of the Council, knowing the truth about their betrayal, or expose the Council and risk everything for the sake of justice. But there was another choice, one she hadn't yet considered fully: use humanity's secret weapon, the Reclaimer, to destroy the Vazoth and the Council once and for all. She had always believed that humanity was the galaxy's hope, but now, in this moment, the cost of victory felt unimaginable. The final confrontation began in the heart of the galaxy, as the Vazoth launched a massive assault on the capital worlds of the Council. The galaxy's defenders, led by humanity, were preparing for the last stand. The Reclaimer moved into position, its weapons primed and ready. As the enemy fleet approached, Elena knew this was the moment that would decide everything. But the weight of the truth about the Council's betrayal loomed over her. Could she fight alongside these factions, knowing what they had done? Could she trust them to fight honorably, or would they betray her once again when the war was over? The Vazoth may have been humanity's immediate enemy, but the Council's greed had created this chaos. The battle was fierce, a violent clash of ships, explosions, and destruction. The Vazoth were relentless, pushing toward victory, while the galaxy's defenders fought with everything they had. The stakes had never been higher. Humanity's fate and the future of the galaxy hung in the balance. As the battle reached its climax, Elena made her decision. She wouldn't expose the Council to the galaxy, not yet. For now, the Vazoth had to be stopped. The Reclaimer fired its devastating weapon, breaking through the Vazoth fleet's defenses, but it wasn't enough. Elena realized the truth. The Vazoth had to be destroyed completely, or they would rise again. In a final act of defiance, Elena and her crew activated the Reclaimer's most powerful weapon, one that could obliterate both the Vazoth and the Council's corrupt factions. The shockwave from the weapon ripped through space, erasing the Vazoth's fleets and severely damaging the Council's strongholds. The cost was catastrophic. Entire planets were lost in the explosion. The galaxy was forever changed. When the dust settled, humanity had won, but at a terrible cost. The Vazoth were gone, and the Council was fractured, its power broken. The future of the galaxy was uncertain. Could humanity rebuild, or would they be drawn into the same cycles of power and greed that had caused this war? Humanity had proven its strength and resilience. But Elena knew that victory was just the beginning. The galaxy had been given a second chance, but only if humanity could rise above the mistakes of the past.